Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to some more Legacy of the Void pre-alpha fan-made some sort of thing, situation thing where we can take a look at all the Legacy of the Void units and most importantly check out how they react together and what their abilities are, and you know, we basically have all the changes that are announced at BlizzCon 2014 for the upcoming expansion for StarCraft 2. Now today we're gonna take a look, as you might have already guessed by the title of this video, at the Swarm Host. Now you might be thinking, okay Lowko, the Swarm Host got added in Harder to Swarm, are you drunk? But honestly, this unit might as well have gotten a new name and a new model as well, because the unit is absolutely nothing like it used to be in Heart of the Swarm. This unit got completely overhauled, whereas in Heart of the Swarm it really has a function to basically, you know, allow Zergs to turtle a little bit. They've decided to change the role of this unit 100% and go ahead and make this much more of a harassment based unit, but I will go over the changes to the old Swarm Host and a new one in just a second. But the very first thing that I wanted to show you is this hatchery right here. I'm gonna be making one Swarm Host and I'm gonna send it straight to the bottom right corner of the map right now, and we'll wait for a little bit for this one to finish. Now, one thing to note right now is that I do have +3 attack already finished up. But the very first thing that I wanted to show you about the Swarm Host is its ridiculous strength right now, okay? Now keep in mind, this is pre-alpha, this isn't even beta yet or even remotely to the release of the game, but I just wanted to show you the strength of this one Swarm Host, okay? So with +3 attack, we're gonna walk this guy all the way to the bottom right, and as you can see, they still look the same. But with +3 attack, they have, you know, quite a cool little ability. That we will go over in a second, okay? So we're gonna walk it all the way to the bottom right corner. And when I first noticed that the strength of the unit is this ridiculous, I was like, wait, that has to be broken, right? But here, let me show you, okay? So +3 attack Swarm Host with +3 armor as well. A single Swarm Host, and I'm gonna be spawning Locust right here, okay? I'm gonna right click it straight on top of my own hatchery. Here we go. Now, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna, you know, I'm just gonna let you show you, or I'm just gonna show you what this does to a single hatchery. So 2 Locusts out of 1 Swarm Host with +3 attack, guys. Guess what? Guess what? You have guessed right. This is actually happening right now. Currently in Legacy of the Void, the damage of these Locusts is so incredibly high that you can snipe down an actual base, just like this, with just a single Swarm Host with 2 Locusts. Okay, so that's the very first thing to note right there. Now, before we're gonna go over all the details and the nitty-gritty sort of changes, I wanted to also show you the upgrade that we can go for, which is right here called Flying Locust, and this is exactly what it sounds like. The Flying Locust, you know, means that the Locust can actually start flying. So we're gonna research that. Pretty long upgrade, takes 120 seconds, and what I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna just make a couple more Swarm Hosts. So I made 2 more right here, and what we're gonna try and do is actually take down this hatchery by flying the Locust over this little ledge right now. Now keep in mind, we would need vision of this in a real game, but once again, just gonna show you the strength of this ability and of this upgrade, as well as a couple of Swarm Hosts. Now keep in mind, okay? Keep in mind that if the Locusts need to travel, for example, if I need to make sure, or if I want to kill this hatchery right now, and it would spawn the Locust right now, what's gonna happen is that the Locusts actually need to move over there, and I'm not completely sure, maybe they actually are still able to take down this hatchery, even though they had to travel a little bit. But let's say I spawn the Locust right here and I make them walk all the way over to the top right corner, and make them target fire down the hatchery. There's obviously a big chance that they will not kill it. In order to kill it with a single Swarm Host and +3 attack, you actually need to be hugging it. So as you can see right there, it actually did not end up working. Now, while Flying Locust is actually researching, let's go over one of the major changes that you might have already noticed, is that the Swarm Host no longer needs to be burrowed to attack, okay? The burrow ability, well, you can still get it, you can still research it, but it's not gonna really add anything, because you can just sort of spawn the Swarm Host or the Locust without them, you know, without them really doing very much, and you don't need to, you know, burrow the actual unit because the Locusts are gonna spawn anyway. Now, right now, we just now finished up, well, we're just about to finish up the Flying Locust upgrade, and I wanted to showcase this to you really quickly, because this means you can actually spawn Locusts and fly them over the edge, okay? So I'm gonna actually use the 3 Swarm Hosts right here to spawn their Locust on this hatchery. See what happens. They spawn the unit, and they're actually gonna be flying over something where you can usually never get to with Swarm Host. And they're gonna be striking down as soon as they are in distance, and guess what? 3 Swarm Hosts with 6 Locusts, they will nuke down a hatchery ridiculously quickly. So that's one of the new cool things that has been added. Now, other than that, If this would have been the only change made to the unit, that would still mean that we could just, you know, spawn unlimited amount of locusts and just sort of keep the opponents at bay. But one important thing to note is that the cooldown of the locust is much higher. It actually is a full minute of a cooldown right now. And that means that you cannot have locust up at all times, and we can also not like simply rally them to go there automatically anymore. We need to actually use them in a much more efficient manner, meaning that, you know, we need to make sure that we actually do enough with the unit. So if you would just sit back and just let them spawn their locust, which isn't even possible, but the cooldown would be so long that we wouldn't really be able to do very much. Now keep in mind is that whenever you do like target something with the spawn locust ability, let's say we target this hatchery all the way in the top right corner of the map and we click it on right there, they are actually gonna spawn their locust right where they are standing. So this travel time right here is very long because the locusts only live for 30 seconds. So if you attack something that's too far away, they're literally just gonna, you know, they're just not gonna make it in time, pretty much. So, you know, all in all, the unit has been changed from a unit that allows you to sit back for the longest amount of time to a unit that it is a lot more harassment focused and that does a lot more damage, but the cooldown on the actual locust is a lot higher. And, you know, they don't actually have a basic attack. So right now, you know, they are pretty much pointless. They can just stare at each other, but they can't actually attack. So it has been changed from a camping sort of unit, let's be honest, to a unit that is mostly focused on harassment. Now, you don't need to be burrowing anymore. So that's pretty cool. You don't need to be burrowing to spawn the locust. I can just sort of spawn them right now. I get out of trouble again. Means that I can obviously target fire down this hatchery while walking away with the swarm host. And you know, the damage has been upped, and we have the upgrade to actually make the locust fly, which is a very cool addition because it means that you can actually, now this is actually a little bug that's in the game right now, but it means that you can actually do a bunch of damage on the move. Another thing that you need to be focusing, or that you need to be aware of, is that the Enduring Locust upgrade, which usually was in the game in Heart of the Swarm to keep the Swarm host Locust alive for a little bit longer, has been removed. So it's not actually in the infestation pit anymore, and it just simply does not exist. Another thing to note is that the Swarm host cost has been up from 200 minerals and 100 gas to 100 minerals and 200 gas. So if you take a look at the costs right now, they are extremely heavy in the gas count. Now, I am making quite a couple of swarm hosts right now, just for the showcase of it, but they are extremely expensive, and in a normal game, I don't think you could really afford maybe more than like 5 or so, and really use them as an harassment-based unit. Now, they're pretty much just as expensive as a Viper right here, which is pretty insane when you think about it. So there's a full minute cooldown on the Locust spawn, and they also just have ridiculous attack speed, the Locusts that are, as well as attack damage. As long as you are even remotely in range of something that you want to be killing, you are going to be taken out. Now, to kill a hatchery without any upgrades, I'm like 99% sure it is either 2 swarm hosts, but more likely it's gonna be, actually no, I'm pretty sure it's actually 2 swarm hosts in total, even when you have no upgrades. Now, I don't actually have any swarm hosts to, or any, you know, unupgraded swarm hosts to test this out with. But even if you have no ranged upgrades, you could still go ahead, just have 2 swarm hosts out, and just sort of click on a hatchery that you want to kill, and get out of trouble again, okay? And that's just a nice little addition. Now, we do have a ton of them, but I wanted to showcase right here what would go on. Let's say we are fighting another army, right? It would be very difficult to do very much with these guys, because you actually need to individually click with everything. Instead, they're going to be a lot better if you use them like this, where you spawn, you know, like this, and actually start dealing a bunch of damage. Now, we can keep on flying with these guys as well, which is pretty cool. But, you know, they are a little bit bugged right now. Pretty insane, though. Look at the damage right there. That is, I don't think there's a single unit in the game that does this much damage and can be spawned in these sort of quantities. Anyways, guys, basically what I was trying to say during the entirety of this video is that the Swarm host has completely been changed, and honestly, I am loving it. I think it's a much more valuable unit right now, which actually means that you can still go for like a Zergling Muta style, and not even upgrade the missile upgrades that the Locusts actually benefit from, and still, you know, use the Swarm host as an harassment-based unit without the necessity of having all the upgrades out. But, to be fair, the damage is kind of ridiculous right now. So I want to thank you guys all for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit that like button, and make sure you comment down below about what unit you would like me to cover next. I want to thank you guys all for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!